Hello. You're very, very welcome to this week's episode of the podcast. This is episode 15, and today we're going to focus on negotiation idioms. Okay, so let's jump straight in. Our first idiom is to meet someone halfway. To meet someone halfway. And this comes from the idea of two people, walking towards each other from opposite directions and stopping in the middle. Okay, it suggests compromise, not total victory for one party, just compromise. Okay, and this is a very common idiom used in any form of negotiation, really, both in the business world, but also in general negotiations that we carry out with people. Because, let's face it, life sometimes feels like a big negotiation. We can't just do what we want to do. We need to take other people's wishes and concerns into consideration. So for example, let's imagine you're buying a car from a private seller. The asking price is 10,000 euros. You offer 9,000. The seller says, look, I can't give it to you for 9,000, but I'll meet you halfway. My last offer is 9,500. So done. That's a deal. You got yourself a deal. I'll meet you halfway. 9,500 is perfect. Another example from real life is when you go to the cinema with your partner or a friend. I know it's a cliche, but hear me out, okay? Let's say one person wants to go and see an action movie and the other person is interested in a romantic comedy. So maybe the first person might say, look, I'm not going to a romantic comedy, but I'll meet you halfway. I'll go to a comedy, but I'm just not going to a romantic comedy. Okay, so there's some compromise there. And then maybe their partner might say, okay, perfect. Look, I can meet you halfway. That's fine. I'm not going to an action movie because I don't like them, but a comedy, it's up my street. I'm okay with that. And just a third example here, guys. If you were choosing a holiday destination with your partner, let's say you want to go to Germany to try some nice beer at the Oktoberfest, but your partner wants to go to Greece. Maybe you might say, I'm saying Germany for the beer, you're saying Greece for the sun. Maybe we could just go to the south of Spain and put those hands together. Okay, I can meet you halfway. Okay, guys, I don't know in general if Greece has good beer. I'm not even sure if Spain does, but this was just appropriate for the example. Look, I'm sure beer is good everywhere. Huh? If you like beer, it's all good. Our second idiom is to sweeten the deal. To sweeten the deal. And this refers to adding something pleasant to make something more attractive. In negotiation terms, it means to add extra benefits to the buyer. Something extra for free, usually, or at a discounted price. So for example, if you're getting a jacket because it's the winter months and you need a warm coat, when you're about to check out, okay, maybe you're online, so maybe you have the cart, you're in the cart and you're about to order. Sometimes they offer you an extra product. For example, in this case, maybe they offer gloves at a discounted price, like 10%. You might think, it sweetens the deal. I'll take that. Or if you go to a car dealership and you commit to buying a car, okay, you make your decision, the salesperson might say, all right, perfect. I'm going to throw in 2 years of free services. Okay, so that's regular maintenance for 2 years with a warranty. That's fantastic. That would sweeten the deal. That would make it a little bit better. Okay, and the last example here, there's a bakery in my town, and anytime I buy a cake there, and I do it a lot for birthday parties, they always give me a coffee to sweeten the deal. They give me a cappuccino or an Americano for free while I'm waiting, and it sweetens the deal. Okay, I always go back. It's great. And the next one we have is to draw a line in the sand. To draw a line in the sand. Historically, it would be related to the military, drawing a border over which your adversary should not cross. But we use it more figuratively to say, we can't go beyond this point. This is the final boundary. For example, if your company is asking you to work 60 hours a week, you might have to draw a line in the sand at 50 hours or 55 hours a week. You can't go beyond that. You need to stand up for yourself, which means to defend yourself or protect yourself. So some companies ask people to work a lot of overtime. Sometimes we need it, it's extra money, but at the same time, there has to be a line in the sand. There has to be a point at which we can say, no, that's enough. Going back to films, there are some films that I have watched, guys, that I am not proud of. So it wasn't my decision to watch them, but I draw the line, or I draw a line in the sand at romantic comedies. Well, any from the last 10 years, anyway. I can't do it anymore, guys. I just can't. As a younger man, I was able to sit through romantic comedies, no problem. But I draw the line at romantic comedies from the last 10 years because they're all the same. Time is limited. Time is precious. I can't do it anymore. So our next one is quite a common one. It's to go back to the drawing board. And another very similar one we can use is to go back to square one. So to go back to the drawing board or to go back to square one. And it originates from engineering and design. So if a plan fails, the designers had to return to the original drawing board. Same idea. If it's back to square one, it means you're going back to the beginning. You need to start again. For example, there's a negotiation about a business deal, an acquisition. One company wants to buy another company and the price becomes a huge issue. They might need to go back to the drawing board to find other ideas, maybe different ways to sweeten the deal, such as shares in the company after the acquisition, or maybe positions on the board. So you can use it for real world examples too. Like last week, I tried to cook lasagna and I forgot to set a timer and it burned. Long story short, the lasagna burned. I had to go back to square one. I had to start from scratch, from zero, and make it again. The last one is give and take, and it's just a general idiomatic phrase to describe a reciprocal exchange, a compromise. So there's always some kind of give and take in order to arrive at a deal or an agreement, the best deal or the best solution for both parties. So good negotiations in general require some give and take. So a specific example, we could say there was a lot of give and take before the companies reached an agreement for the acquisition. And in general life, there's always going to be give and take, guys, isn't there? Especially if you want to coexist with people, if you want to share space with people, there has to be some give and take because we all have our own personal rules, how we like our house to be in terms of order, tidiness, and cleanliness. We need to adapt when we move in or live with other people. It's a learning curve, a period of learning. It's not instantaneous. So it's a real learning curve when we share space with people. There's a lot of give and take. There's a lot of compromise that has to be made. Okay, guys, those were 5 negotiation idioms. And to be honest, I think we snuck in maybe 7 or 8. As always, I recommend listening to episodes again. Things become so much clearer the second time you listen to something. Your brain starts to notice the patterns, the similarities, and the differences between your native language and English, which is key for improvement. And it's a time saver. You have the material right there. Just you can reuse, recycle. Okay, guys, look, I hope you've enjoyed the episode and have a great week. Ciao. Ciao.